Coming up on the next edition of Power and Politics, Congress grills the special counsel who investigated how federal documents ended up with President Biden. Meanwhile, back in Florida, the state legislature wraps up its legislative session with the passage of a bunch of bills while also sending a not-so-subtle message to the governor. Hello and welcome to another edition of Power and Politics. I'm your host, Frank Cipolla. Power and Politics is a weekly, unbiased look at the top stories affecting the state, with a special emphasis on the psychology behind the decisions and issues that affect our lives. We want to take a moment to say hello to our many viewers watching as they do every week on stations throughout the state, including stations in Orlando, Miami, Tampa, Pensacola, and elsewhere. I am joined today, as I am every week, by my co-host, Emmy Award-winning clinical and political psychologist, Dr. Bart Rossi. Dr. Welcome.
Great to be here, Frank.
Okay, we begin the show with a fiery hearing on Capitol Hill this past week as congressional committee members grill the special counsel who questioned President Biden about documents found in his home. Much of the questioning centering on the president's memory, even as the special counsel reiterated that the then Vice President Biden, did not deliberately walk away with those documents. All right, so Doctor, let's take it from the top, the psychology of all of this. I don't know why the hearings were nonstop earlier in the week, but they were broadcast on all the all-news cable stations. A lot of Congress people on the Republican side trying to equivocate this with what Donald Trump is accused of doing, taking the documents, and we've seen the photographs with the documents in his bathroom, on the stage at Mar-a-Lago, and so on. These are two different instances, but, you know, the hearings seem to imply that they were the same.
Well, Frank, there's interesting psychology here, of course, because Donald Trump kept the documents, and the documents he had were thousands of pages, including top secret nuclear documents, and he did not want to give them back to the government. So the former president did not want to give the documents back because he believes, he even says that today, that he had the right to have them. Mm-hmm. Whereas with President Biden, and also remember Vice President Pence, they had a few, very, very limited number of documents that they didn't realize they had, and both gave back the documents when they realized they had them.
Then let me ask the reporter/editorial question. Did it warrant a whole afternoon of live coverage on these hearings when we, A, knew what the result of the hearing was? Who benefited? The Democrats, Republicans? Did anybody benefit from these hearings that were broadcast all night?
There was a loss of time and effort, in my view, because, I mean, you're trying to paint a picture of Biden being old. Okay, people are trying to do that. Republicans, I don't think, looked too good. Democrats tried to counter it. I mean, they didn't really win. Nobody won on this hearing, as far as I'm concerned, and probably no one will care in a matter of a few days.
All right. Another thing that happened last week is that fiery State of the Union speech by the president. I was stunned because in the first 4 or 5 minutes of it, he hit all the main issues, and he seemed invigorated.
You know, Frank, it's interesting to see someone who has to stand up and perform well actually do it. Because if he did not do well in this address, I think he might have lost the presidency. So he had to shine, and he did. He looked energetic. As you often say, you need presence and energy. Mm-hmm. Well, the president certainly showed that.
True. However, toward the end of the speech, there was a bit of stumbling and a bit of mumbling, and I thought it lost some of its energy toward the end, but I thought the top of the speech was really good with regard to President Biden getting his message out there. I thought that was a...
You know, I kind of disagree a little bit. I thought
You disagree with your co-host?
Well, just slightly, in the sense that the overall context of it and his performance for that long a period of time was good. He had total control of the House. He was there. He had total control of everyone. He was shining, and people may disagree with his policy one way or another, but he certainly looked awfully good.
I thought it could have been shorter.
I think it could. I think most of these addresses could be shorter, yes.
We've got about 30 seconds before we go to the great Rossi rant. The polls show former President Trump leading. I'm not a big fan of polls. I think I did commentary on it not too long ago, especially this far out from Election Day. What do they say really, or should we just ignore them? Because, you know, one poll has Biden leading in one state, Trump leading in another state. A million things could happen between now and Election Day.
I think the only thing the polls are telling us right now is that it could be a close race. And it may not be that close. I mean, it could go one way or the other. But other than that, I don't think the polls should be taken for anything serious.
All right, time now for one of our regular segments, a commentary from Dr. Bart Rossi that we call the Rossi Rant.
And Frank, today I'd like to go off on what a lot of Democratic strategists are saying about themselves, about Democrats. And it's about messaging. The Democratic message when it comes to money and finance and taxes seems to me to be really off base. And what I mean by that is, let's take someone who's trying hard, they want to become successful in life, they want to earn more. What do they have in front of them? Democrats who are saying, well, you're going to move into a higher tax bracket and you're going to pay at a higher rate. And the Democrats are saying, well, the rich should pay their fair share. Well, that's a good point. That is true. However, the message is really not so good. It really pushes back on everybody who's trying to earn more money and be more successful. It seems like the Democratic message on the economy and money just doesn't resonate with people. It's not working, and they need to move forward with a different, maybe a flat tax.
You have said this before, and you reiterated it now. Yes, this is one of your themes. The messaging is bad.
The messaging is not good.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Coming up, we are seeing some cracks in the once seemingly unbreakable connection between Governor Ron DeSantis and the state legislature. And a court decides there should be some modifications when it comes to Florida's controversial Don't Say Gay law, when Power in Politics continues.
Hi, folks, and welcome back. As a reminder, staff are on hand to answer your questions regarding personal injury. So if you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, like a car accident or a slip and fall, they can help. And as a matter of fact, they're ready to help. So pick up that phone and call the number right now on your screen. Find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Now, we have a question submitted by Ramon. So Ramon, what's your question?
Hi, my name is Ramon. My question is, once I sign up with your firm, how quickly do you guys get to work on my case?
Ramon, that's a great question. And I checked with our team and they say right away. They said that once you call in, you receive your free consultation and the firm sees that this is a case that they can help you with, then they send over the paperwork and start working in your case immediately. Now, the best part is that you can do everything right there over the phone. You can do it by email if you wish, text message. So you can rest easy knowing that there's someone on your side looking out for you. And if you prefer to meet in person, you can come into the office or we can have someone come out to your house, maybe meet you at a coffee shop. Although I think most people nowadays prefer to do things over the phone. It's very fast, it's very easy, and it's really all about you. That's why staff are available for you right now, because this is done on your terms. So if you've been injured in an accident and you're sitting there on the couch, maybe still in the hospital bed from your accident, and you have a lot of questions, more importantly, you deserve compensation. So take that first step, call the number on your screen, and in 2 easy steps, you're going to find out if you have a case and how much your case is potentially worth.
Excellent. Thank you, Mitch. Well, you heard it, folks. The call is confidential and the consultation is free. So you have nothing to lose by taking a few minutes of your time to find out if you have a case and how much it could be worth.
Welcome back to Power in Politics. I'm Frank Cipolla, joined by political psychologist Dr. Bart Rossi. Governor Ron DeSantis, during last year's legislative session, pretty much had his way with the state legislature. Now back in Florida, with nothing really to show for his presidential run, it's a far different dynamic. Many bills touted by the governor this year were either ignored, rejected, or modified by the legislature. So the question for Dr. Rossi is, has the sheen finally come off Ron DeSantis?
Frank, I think it has. And the big question is, where does he go? Emotionally, psychologically, personally? Does he really want to be governor? And for what reason? I mean, there's a pushback against him. What does he do for almost 3 years to make something happen for himself in terms of looking better, looking more dynamic? It's a big question mark as to what the governor's going to do with himself.
And it's safe to say that he's not going to get stronger with each successive year.
No.
He's going to become more and more lame duck.
Yeah, people are going to look at him and say, well, I'm not sure I like that. I'm not sure I want this bill. And he's going to have a lot more pushback than he's had right now. And the question going forward, again, is what is he going to do with himself and how is he going to view his position going forward?
It will be interesting to see.
Yeah.
All right, now on to the Don't Say Gay law, which a court this week ruled needed clearly outlined protections for discussions about the LGBTQ plus community. In this case, opponents and supporters are claiming victory with this court decision. Your take on it?
This is a really interesting court decision. Talk about psychology, okay? I mean, after all of this discussion, the agreement basically says that you can't teach gay or gender equality or whatever in the school, but you certainly can talk about it. Well, I'm not sure people were really teaching in the public schools about being gay. I mean, personally, I've never heard of teachers going in and say, well, we're going to have a classroom discussion about who should become gay. I honestly don't think that that's ever really happened or to any significant degree. So now it seems like we're back to square one. Teachers can talk about someone who's gay and they could discuss certain things, but they're not teaching. Okay, well, I don't think they were ever teaching it.
You know, teachers have always had a difficult job. How does a teacher in Florida know what I can't and cannot say? And what if a student goes home and tells her parent, his or her parent, the teacher said this today? You know, it's a difficult job to begin with. I think it's almost further complicated by this sort of ambiguous ruling.
Well, it's a little bit ambiguous. However, I think it leans in the direction of a little bit more freedom for the teachers. I really do, because teachers can talk about it as long as they're not teaching.
Well,
they can't have a curriculum. A teacher can say, I don't have a curriculum, and I don't have a discussion planned for anything gay. They can do that. I'm not sure they ever did. So I mean, it seems like this leans in the direction of those people who wanted more freedom in terms of discussion about gay and being gay.
Some have indicated this is a solution in search of a problem. There really never was a problem.
That's a good way to frame it, Frank. Yes, it is.
Former Governor Rick Scott piling up the endorsements this week from Florida's congressional delegation as he's running for re-election. He's running against Congresswoman Debbie Mucarsel-Powell.
Right.
Preliminary polls again, and again, not a big fan of the polls. You've seen them. We're way out from Election Day, and again, anything could happen. But it's a close race so far.
Well, the senator is very good at winning close races. I think he's won 3 by a total of less than a percentage point, maybe even far less than a percentage point. So he's very good at getting his base and being conservative and highlighting his conservative bona fides, okay? However, there are a lot of problems now with Rick Scott in terms of maybe the state leaning a little bit too far right. His position on Medicare and Social Security is a question mark. I think that a successful opponent here, former Congresswoman Powell, can do very well if she enunciates what her differences are from Rick Scott. Abortion, choice, and pro-gun rights, but also sensible gun legislation. So there's a lot of things, mental health, for example, in Florida, where that should go. I mean, she could do a lot of things to really impact, this race against Scott. Yes, she could.
And you're almost describing the template for the national election as well.
Yes.
These very important issues that, we've seen abortion supported by Republicans and Democrats in overwhelming majorities. And they have to navigate that, those on the Republican side. But the Democrats, there's an opening there for them.
The opening is there. And as I said in my rant, Frank, the messaging is going to have to be good. Powell's going to have to present herself extremely well and highlight what she stands for. If she does that, she could possibly win the race.
Do you think that former governor and now Senator Scott will get any support from his congressional friends? Because he doesn't have many friends, from what I understand and gather. He tried to jump the line and become speaker and challenge McConnell a few years back, which was frowned upon. He said some things with regard to Social Security, that it should be sunsetted or reviewed every 5 years.
Right.
Not exactly popular themes, not only in the Republican Party, but in general.
I think you're right about that, but I think Rick Scott knows how to lean into the base. That is the very conservative group of folks that are here in Florida, and again, across the country for sure. He knows how to lean into those voters, have them on his side, and then get enough votes from the rest of the people to win elections. He's very good at doing that.
It will be an interesting race.
Yes.
We will be following it, as well as the national races, so we'll see what happens. Okay. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the always popular sunshine or shower segment, when we see who basked in the sunshine this week and who got drenched, when Power and Politics continues. Welcome back to Power and Politics. As you know, the weather can change in a moment in Florida. So every week we span the state to find out who enjoyed the sunshiny rays and who got caught in the rain. It's time now for the always popular segment, Sunshine or Showers. We start with the good doctor. Who is in the sunshine, or who was in the sunshine this week?
Well, Frank, I'm thinking of the Florida airports and all of the folks that run the airports around Florida, because what they're doing is they're starting a new program. They're using high-resolution photos of people coming into the airport, high-tech, new technology, trying to get people identified as soon as possible and making it a little bit easier for people to go through security and basically enhance the whole experience, because they're using more sophistication to help identify any possible problem individual. I give them credit for trying to make this whole situation a little bit better. Florida's looks like they're leading in this new development, and so I'm putting them in the sunshine.
And I would respectfully disagree with your sunshine this week. I think there are enough photographs of us out there, and I'd rather not have my photograph taken wherever I go.
Okay, all right.
All right.
How about you for the sunshine?
Very well
No?
done,
All
just
right.
like we rehearsed it. Okay. You know, the state legislature passed a $117 billion budget for this year. And in that was $201 million for Tallahassee, refurbishing Tallahassee, Leon County, and the Big Bend that was hit by a hurricane a few years ago. And it's certainly needed. You know, the state capitol is supposed to be the centerpiece of any state.
Right.
It's supposed to be the showcase. And the money is going to be well spent in that part of the state, and I think it's well deserved. And of course, Big Bend is recovering from that hurricane. So all that money, $201 million from that budget, is going into the capital region. So I'm putting the state legislature in the sunshine.
All
We're
right.
doing that.
Thumbs up on that
Yeah,
one.
all
Very
right.
good. Okay. So for the showers this week, all right?
Oh, the showers, because every sunshiny day.
Well, I have a person who I really believe should be in the showers, and that's Senator Menendez, who
New Jersey.
Well, he's from New Jersey, and he was head of the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate, perhaps the most significant committee chairmanship going. Okay, so he is apparently he's being charged 3 times. He's been indicted 3 times for taking gold bars, coins, cash, and doing all sorts of things just to benefit himself. His trial's coming up, but the position that he had really relates to commerce coming into the country, and it affects all states. And he used his position to enhance himself, according to the indictments.
I don't know why he hasn't resigned or announced that he won't run for re-election. I don't know what his thing. You're the psychologist. I don't know what his thinking.
Democrats have called for him to resign, and he should.
Okay. Now you have to ask me.
Oh, and
you see, we
now,
rehearsed it. We have to rehearse it some more, folks. We
Please,
haven't gotten
for
to
the
it.
showers, yes.
You know who's in the showers today? Look, no one really agrees. Not everybody's going to agree who the president is. All right. There's always going to be people who are of the other party. But when we have slowly but surely over the last few years during the State of the Union address have had people scream out, yell, make a scene in the House of Representatives. Folks, this is not a banana republic. If you have a problem with President Biden or President Trump or President Obama or President George W. Bush, you need to go through the proper channels. If you're in Congress, you need to pull them aside. If you're a citizen, you need to write an email. Screaming in the House of Representatives while the entire world is watching is not what you do. I mean, we need some decorum in the Congress, and I'm going to put all those people that embarrass themselves every year by screaming in the House, well of the House.
More civility.
More civility. Thank you,
about that?
Doctor. Well said. That's why you're the doctor. All right. Time for a break now. When we return, a commentary by yours truly titled Let's Be Frank, when Power and Politics continues.
Hi, folks, and welcome back. As a reminder, staff are on hand to answer your questions regarding personal injury. So if you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, like a car accident or a slip and fall, they can help. And as a matter of fact, they're ready to help. So pick up that phone and call the number right now on your screen. Find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Now, we have a question submitted by Ramon. So Ramon, what's your question?
Hi, my name is Ramon. My question is, once I sign up with your firm, how quickly do you guys get to work on my case?
Ramon, that's a great question. And I checked with our team and they say right away. They said that once you call in, you receive your free consultation, and the firm sees that this is a case that they can help you with, then they send over the paperwork and start working in your case immediately. Now, the best part is that you can do everything right there over the phone. You can do it by email if you wish, text message. So you can rest easy knowing that there's someone on your side looking out for you. And if you prefer to meet in person, you can come into the office, or we can have someone come out to your house, maybe meet you at a coffee shop. Although I think most people nowadays prefer to do things over the phone. It's very fast, it's very easy, and it's really all about you. That's why staff are available for you right now, because this is done on your terms. So if you've been injured in an accident and you're sitting there on the couch, maybe still in the hospital bed from your accident, and you have a lot of questions, more importantly, you deserve compensation. So take that first step, call the number on your screen, and in 2 easy steps, you're going to find out if you have a case and how much your case is potentially worth.
Excellent. Thank you, Mitch. Well, you heard it, folks. The call is confidential and the consultation is free. So you have nothing to lose by taking a few minutes of your time to find out if you have a case and how much it could be worth.
Welcome back. What it means to be a politician has evolved over the years, and not for the better. Gone is the smiling, backslapping, hearty handshaking elected official who intently listens to your concerns and promises to solve your problems. Some of you watching now remember when your local politician spent quality time going over the issues at a town hall meeting. He or she stayed late and conscientiously vowed to make things better. Not so now. I saw this transformation up close. While covering news in and around New York City years ago, I was introduced to a young Rudolph Giuliani. He was gracious, affable, and even agreed to come on my talk show. A few years later, as mayor of New York City, he had changed. He and I often battled at City Hall press conferences, and it wasn't just me. He was rude, standoffish, sometimes cruel. But New Yorkers found him effective. This model was later copied by New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who regularly insulted not only reporters, but constituents who deigned to disagree with him. Again, I saw this up close. Now, it seems the model of the bully politician is all we see. Ron DeSantis' my way or the highway attitude. Former President Donald Trump mocking his opponents even after defeating them. It's hard to believe that there was a time when upright men and women from both parties disagreed on the floor of the State House or in Congress, and then later knocked back a few at a nearby watering hole, realizing the work of making things better is not and should not be a knife fight to the death. Now, if you're not angry, you're perceived as not doing your job. This is not how it's supposed to be. Politics, it is said, is the art of compromise, not I win, you lose. That's why our Congress and our politics are so dysfunctional. There can't possibly be so many angry people out there. Yes, some of us are fed up with being pushed around and ignored, but the vast majority of us understand compromise because we practice it every day, dealing with partners, spouses, children, friends, and relatives. This is the way it's supposed to be. You compromise, win or lose graciously, and fight on another day. I long for the day when the bully politician is no more, although I fear he's here to stay. We'll be right back. That's it for this week's edition of Power and Politics. On behalf of my co-host, political psychologist Dr. Bart Rossi, and the fine folks working behind the scenes, thanks for joining us. As always, we'd like to know what you think. Visit us at powerandpolitics.tv or email us at info@powerandpolitics.tv. We'll see you again a week from now at this time on this same station. Have a great week.